Greetings everyone, my name is Zetterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Maker. During the last part, I covered 10 levels from the most popular queue, so in this part, I'll be covering at least 4 or 5 more viewer submitted levels, starting out with this one, Viagem Espacial Parte 2 Mercurio, which translates to English as Space Travel Part 2 Mercury by Lipatio, with 11 plays and a score of 2. As always, if you want whatever levels to be featured in a future part like this one, please leave both the level name and level ID either in the comments section below or direct message me on Twitter. Also, as always, the full disclaimer this entire LP series is linked in the description below. Also in the description are the timestamps for all the levels I cover in these parts, so if you want to check if your levels covered, expand the description. So we start off in that space station, and now we're riding on top of the spinning top, going to Mercury, I suppose. And we have a pretty space background over there, which becomes more bland as we enter the Mercury station or something. I preferred the earlier one more than this one. Anyways, this will be a special weapons oriented stage where we utilize the Star Crash. After all, in Mega Man Maker we do not have space physics toggleable yet. We only have normal physics and water physics. I could have made that jump using the Star Crash, but I didn't want to risk it there. And unfortunately, in comparison to most of the other shield weapons in Mega Man Maker, Star Crash is one of the weakest ones. After all, it does get despawned when it hits an enemy projectile. That's strange. So, let me get this straight. Apparently the Star Crash can also despawn these fire bars, but it does so without any fanfare or sound effects. They just poof into non-existence. That's really strange. It may become important in the latter part of this stage though, so I better keep that in mind. Just need to snake in between these fire bars. That could have gone badly if the Watcher spawned in just as I was jumping. I need to be careful and maintain my Star Crash in order to keep my space jumping. Okay, here we need to utilize the Star Crash in order to make our way across. Thank you for the checkpoint, good checkpoint placement. Hot dog number 1 was easily dispatched of. This one's gonna be more of a problem though. But as long as you get right into its face, it's fine. I wanted the damage boost over there because I wasn't sure. Another one of these jumps I see. And yet I died because the positioning of those can be a bit of a problem to snake in between. I expect I'm gonna die a lot in this level if there's a lot of those challenges. Not to mention it can only have up to 1 Star Crash on screen at a time. I need to do a slide jump off of this one and do it that way. Thank goodness there was some terrain over here, but it was kind of a blind jump if you were to ask me. Thank you greatly for the checkpoint. Lipatio understands that if the stages are more difficult, the checkpoint density should be higher. And this stage definitely understands that. Oh, I see, I'm going to have to chain up the Star Crash and Charge Kick. At least that's what I think. Yeah, I was right. And now we suddenly transition from a starry black background to a vibrant yellow one. Okay then. Oh, we need to squeeze in here. Well, I made it in my first attempt. Really lucky. Another great checkpoint placement. It's only 4 or 5 screens away, but it's important because of how difficult this stage is. And now we climb upwards. Another good checkpoint placement right after that difficult vertical segment. So let's reset over here, just to be at full health. I don't know if this is the correct way of doing it, but I'll do it. Just need to jump over all these spikes. And Mega Man Maker didn't register my jump input there. Wonderful. I was expecting that to happen. So we need to chase after this one. And it decided to desync a bit. Wow, there's not that much tolerance for that jump over there. You need to be really quick over there, and hope that Mega Man Maker doesn't screw around with your inputs. I would have wished if there was a bit more tolerance there, but that's just me. Well, I made it. Thankfully, because their firebar generator is below me, there's no bottomless pits there. Rather not deal with those because I want to spare my special weapon energy. But these I can deal with. And I guess they want me to utilize the stuff like the Thunder Beam here, or just run right past these enemies. And we fight Metal Man here. Weakness is of course Elect Beam. Let me deal with those Skeleton Joes first. This was a neat little level, although I didn't really like the foreground and background combinations. This stage is definitely designed for intermediate to players around the skill level of intermediate to advanced, semi-skilled I'd say. Especially because of the chaining together to the star crash and charge kicking near the end. The challenge progression was pretty nice, and I liked how Lipatio introduced usage of how the star crash just deletes those fire bars, and incorporated several of those challenges into the stage design itself. And checkpoint placement was fair and very frequent, so even if you die, you aren't sent back too far, which I do strongly approve of. Second on the lineup is Littoral Man by DerelictAllstar with 15 plays and a score of 8. It's been quite a while since I last played a level made by DerelictAllstar, and from what I recall, they made some pretty decent to somewhat good traditional levels. Not somewhat good, good traditional levels. So let's see how this one fares. We start out with a choice between 3 characters to play as. Well, I've been playing as Littoral Man for quite a long time, so let's play as base for a change. Well, I knew that was gonna happen. Let's try this again, shall we? So I guess the stage's aesthetics is basically a water palace or water fortress or water castle, and the main gimmicks so far are the crash lifts, which are being introduced fairly well. And playing as base makes these platforming challenges easier, but at the same time makes these enemy challenges harder. And I see the challenge progression of these crash lifts, now in vertical segments, now with spikes. And by playing as base, we can just bypass them easily. Oh, I see the gyres now, gradually getting harder. And I like how we're in the temple now. We started in the outside scenery and now we're inside the temple itself. And our mini-boss is this Power Master. I was trying to dodge it, but it was all for naught. Good checkpoint placement around the same place as a traditional level. Though it's a little bit more difficult than a usual traditional level if you ask me. I want to see if there's something to the right over there. And there is. Oh, it's an alternate route then. Let me take the lower route first and see where it leads to. Okay, I guess we follow around this rolling drill then. Interesting, apparently the rolling drills cannot destroy those weapon blocks. That's good to know. So that was just for a free tank. And now the second gimmick of the stage are the Techions, aka the maces. First introduced in a safe enough environment and now in a more difficult one. Slowly getting more difficult. And I suppose at the end we'll see a combination of the crash lifts and Techions. Just like any good traditional level. That gap to the left looks awfully suspicious as well. Nope, it was just there for show. I mean, you can make that jump using base, so I expected Derelict to put a secret there. Back down into the waterways we go. And we go down a long way, and there's that teleporter. Another good checkpoint placement. I guess this is just before the boss fight. And I was right, we fight Bubble Man here. Every traditional level usually has a checkpoint in the middle, and then one at the end. At least the ones made by Capcom. You know, playing as base made this boss fight a bit easier because I could fire diagonally, as well as do double jumps and dash jumps. Playing as Proto Man would also make this easier because I could deflect the projectiles back at him. Playing as Mega Man would probably be the hardest, but then again I have the Mega Man 6 charge cell, so that also makes it easier. I like how this stage gives us the option of 3 different characters to play as. It had a nice difficulty curve, nice checkpoint placement that's accurate to the NES titles. Overall, a pretty good level of a water temple, and I like the progression of how we started out outside the temple, then inside the temple, and then into the waterway. I also like the optional spike dropping segment for an extra E-tag, and I liked how the challenges were integrated and introduced. Though I was hoping at the end there was going to be a combination of the crash lift segments in the first part of the stage, as well as the Tachyon segments in the second part of the stage. That'd be pretty neat. That's the only real improvement I can think of this stage. Overall, it's definitely my favorite level of the part so far, at least a 7.5 out of 10. And there's also good aesthetics, can't forget those. And the server decided to error out, thank you. Third on the lineup is Colors of War 1 by Jedok74 with 5 plays and a score of 2. This isn't marked as an SCWN or SAN level, so I suppose this will be something like a fortress level or something. And I guess this will be focusing on different color schemes. We started with the Mega Buster and Rush utilities, and in this blue segment we started with all of the blue utilities, or blue weaponry, and blue enemies. Yeah, blue enemies. Although I would say the Crystal Geodes are more greenish, but I'll look over that, it's close enough. And now we have the blue killer bullets as well. Oh, wonderful. Though the dive missile just tears through everything here. Aesthetically, this stage is certainly on the pleasing side, I'll give it that. Though it is rather easy. And now we're in the green segment, where we gain access to the Leaf Shield, Hyper Bomb, and Stir Snake. I guess the next segment after this will be the red segment, or the orange segment. Too bad we don't have any blue gimmicks in the previous segment. Just for fun, I will only be using the weapons that match the color in each of these segments. That way, don't just tear through everything using the dive missile. And there's plenty of special weapon energy lying around, so the stage designer is incentivizing us to spam our special weapons. I was right, we're now onto the red segment, where we gain access to the Firestorm, Atomic Fire, and Ferro Shot. Although I'm not sure if I'd qualify the Ferro Shot as a fire weapon, I'd qualify it more as a light-based weapon or a sun weapon. Though this red segment's kinda getting eye-blaring with the red background over there. At least the stage has a unique aesthetic that's being followed through consistently, with the consistent enemy and foreground and background tileset usage that has a unified color scheme. Okay, now we have different segments or mini challenges. First red, then green, then blue. Oh, never mind, it's the end of the stage. That was just a summary of all the different colors we went through. And there's also Colors of War 2 that was made by Jethog. I'd gladly like to see how that improves upon this one, or what other colors it brings to the table. This is definitely currently my honorable mention of the part. So it is mini challenges. That was the red mini challenge, now we're in the green one. So my earlier assumption was right. So back to green weaponry. The green segment was easily the easiest. And last but not least, the blue one. So just time to spam dive missile everywhere. And I guess that's it. And here's all the three colors in unison, with the addition of purple and yellow, of course. Safety reset for full refill, and let's face the boss. Oh, never mind, we're not facing the boss, just... okay, there's Crash Man. We're now fighting the enemies from the three different color sets, the three different Sniper Joes. Or we can just run past them, and okay then. Crashman is just doing a crazy dance over there. And there we have it, that was the end of Colors of War 1. Very neat aesthetically, though it is a bit simple in terms of level design because there were no platforming gimmicks. Maybe that'll be in Colors of War 2? Nonetheless, I'll still give it a thumbs up, 5.5 or 6 out of 10. Fourth and final level of the part is Facility -4C by Darkness, with 37 plays and a score of 16. Based off of the title, I suppose this will be a frozen facility stage. And we play as Proto Man, but thankfully he doesn't take double damage. And I was right, this is an ice stage. Let's hope that ice physics don't kill me several times here. That's a neat little way of introducing the Gabios. First, in a safe enclosed environment where players are not likely gonna fall in. And now in a more dangerous one where players are more likely to be hit by it. In the first screen we can observe their behavior, now we need to dodge them more properly. Same with these Picados. And the same with these rainbow platforms or ring platforms. And now we're inside this frozen facility. Thank you for the checkpoint, and I see you're being introduced to the Tachyons. As well as the coil platforms here. Let's go up. I'm suspicious that the left goes to somewhere else. Actually, let me take a look to the left first. No, it's just a bottomless pit. I just wanted to be sure because I wasn't sure if that was a bottomless pit. There was no fade to black over there. And the checkpoint's only a few screens away, so it wasn't too bad anyway. And now the Tachyons are being placed in more hazardous environments, where players are more likely to run face first into it. So nice challenge escalations, same with the coil platforms in the previous room. And now we have to go on top of these rainbow platforms / ring platforms on top of instant death spikes. And there's an instance of me falling into spikes there because of ice physics. Wonderful. Once again, really thankful there's a checkpoint right before that room. Remember, anything more than a slight tap walk will send you rushing forwards, as you can see over there. Even though I moved just a few pixels more than a tap walk, it sent me shooting to the left. That's what happened in my first death. Now we gotta be a bit careful with these Tachyons because they can just knock us off of these rainbow platforms, or the coil platforms. So nice challenge escalation. Combining different challenges together, although it is a bit of a difficulty spike if you'd ask me. Would have preferred if these challenges were first on top of spikes, but then again, they are almost instant anyway. The main difference between spikes and bottomless pits are the fact that you can damage boost off of spikes. And I guess this is the end of the stage. Nice traditional level, and nice checkpoint placement, nice introduction of challenges. But I would like to see the stage taken further, maybe smooth out the difficulty curve to be a little bit more gradual. Otherwise, it's a very good stage, at least a 7 out of 10. And this room utilizes both the coil, rainbow platforms, and the Tachyons. And I got ambushed over there or trapped against a wall because I made a mistake and thought that part of the foreground was actually part of the background. And there we have it. This is actually a neat way of remixing the Skullman encounter and incorporating all the gimmicks that were introduced in this stage. Very nice. If you want to make this easier, I'd say to lower the Tachyon a bit lower so we have more room to jump around. But overall, this was still a pretty fun encounter. Great work, Darkness. Nice challenge progression, nice introduction of gimmicks, and great checkpoint placement. This would fit well as a nice traditional, semi-traditional level, or perhaps a early fortress level or Doc Robot stage. A bit more difficult than the usual traditional level, especially near the end though. So overall, out of the 4 levels I played in this part, my favorite level would definitely be Littoral Man by DerelictAllstar, with honorable mentions going out to Colors of War 1 by Genox74 and Facility -4 Centigrade by Darkness. So in the next part, I'll be covering several more viewer submitted levels. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!